Hi everyone, I'm Kristen from Run Fit Mama at runfitmama.net, and today I wanted to do a video on all the running questions that everyone has been submitting on my Instagram, which I really appreciate, and I love all the support and all the friendly vibes and comments that you've all given me so far. So I had actually a lot of responses on different running questions that you all might have. First one I have, which I'll be honest with you, I don't really have this problem, but I had a question on what to do with boob bounce. So this person that asked the question has a really hard time running because she is a little bit more endowed than I am. And truthfully, I get all of my sports bras at Target, or I think I actually have a few from Fabletics that I really like. But in terms of more support for a larger chest, I would recommend going to, for example, in Sacramento, we have Fleet Feet. I would go there and get fitted for a nice sports bra. It might be a little bit more expensive, but I think if you buy something that's really worth it, that will help keep you comfortable and you'll use more and more and more, it's a lot better than buying something a little bit cheaper that's just gonna wear down anyway. So I would suggest going to get fitted for at least your right size. And then maybe if you order something online, you'll know, oh, I should get this size next time. You can try things like Under Armour. You can also try places like Lululemon where they'll actually fit you there as well. If you don't feel comfortable going there, or if it's a little bit out of your price range, there are some other good options even on Amazon that get great reviews, and I'll actually link those down in the description box below so that way you can easily find them. So I would try any brand that already makes running shoes like Nike or Brooks, Reebok, because I've found that if they already have the technology to make a really good running shoe, then they kind of know what they're doing. When it comes to those really well supported sports bras, I would consider it just as much as you would with a normal bra in terms of underwire and a good molded cup. For smaller chested runners like me, I usually just run with a sports bra that has a cup already attached into it, and it seems to be fine. In terms of more budget friendly brands, I love Target sports bras. I do find that they have a lot of good support. My next question kind of goes with that same sports bra question, but it was what type of underwear to wear when you run. Well, I'm gonna be completely open and honest with you. I have had 2 babies. It did not do well for my bladder. So I used to be able to run in a thong, no problem. I would just wear whatever I bought from Victoria's Secret. Now I have to run in a full-on granny panty in case I need to wear things to help support me when I run, if you catch my drift. So I have just bought full-on, like full butt underwear from Victoria's Secret. And actually that has been totally fine for me. I don't have any chafing problems with it being cotton because I use Body Glide. So I just make sure I line all the areas where the underwear is going to be with a bunch of Body Glide before I run, and then I'm usually good to go. Same thing with underneath the sports bra. And in fact, this actually is just gonna go on into the next question, which was the chafing question, but I'm just gonna tell you, usually where my armband hits, when I'm swinging my arm, it tends to rub there too, just because it's so thick on that one side. So I always put Body Glide there too. I would just over prepare yourself for chafing, especially if you're getting into longer and longer distances, or if it's really, really hot outside. I would just get the whole sports bra area, I would get your whole underwear area, and then I would get anything else that's rubbing. That's why I usually like to run in long sleeves, because if I just cover that up with my armband, I don't even have to worry about it. Another question that I got was, what happens, or what am I doing wrong if my arms are getting really stiff and tingly? That I can tell you right off the bat is you are probably running really, really tense like this. Your palms are probably really clenched together. You're probably trying really, really hard to go fast. And so when we do that, we kind of tend to hunch up here and we get really stiff in our back and our chest. And so what I have tried to tell myself to do is to kind of like roll my traps and my shoulders back and try to have that nice posture, and just kind of every time I take a little bit of a break or during my intervals, I kind of shake out my arms, get the blood flow going back to your fingers. And then a tip that I love is to pretend you're holding microphones. I don't know why that works, but it does for me. So I try not to clench my fists really hard. I kind of keep an open fist, and then a lot of times people are doing this motion, they're crossing their body. And again, that's gonna create a lot of tension, especially in your upper back, in your traps. So I try to go forward and back. I either have my hands flat or I use that kind of fist motion. I don't know what that is. Maybe we feel like we're gonna like punch the air in front of us and get faster. I don't know. I usually do that too. So I have to really make a conscious effort to just go forward and back like that. So my next question was when to eat before a run. I did address this in a blog post that I have at runfitmama.com if you'd like to check that out in terms of when to eat and what to eat before a run. It all just depends. So are you waking up first thing in the morning and getting out the door for a 3-miler? Maybe you don't really need to eat before you run. Maybe you could just have your water and some Nuun and just head out the door. If you're going for a longer run, or if it's in the middle of the day, or if you really do feel like you need something, I personally have always done well if I just have half a banana and go. If you feel like you need a bigger meal, I would give yourself 30 minutes to an hour to really digest. Anytime that I've run in the afternoon and I thought, oh, I just had lunch, I'm gonna go run 4 miles really quick, it has not been a good scenario. I always get side cramps or I'm just really out of breath. It's because your body's trying to digest this giant meal you just had. So if I were you, I would give yourself that 30-minute, 60-minute window, let your body digest and kind of relax from having lunch, and then going. If you are waking up first thing in the morning, feel free to go. Make sure you hydrate though, and especially the night before, make sure that you've hydrated properly if you plan on just running fasted. So the next question I had, I actually really love because I really felt kind of the pain in the person's question when they were asking this, and it was what to do if you really want to get into running, but you just can't. And let me tell you, I've actually been there before I really got into my groove. And even now, sometimes I'll go for a run and I'm just like, I'm just not into this. And it's really hard in the beginning. And I think that's why people don't like running, because they try running 5Ks. I think the first 3 miles of any long run or just any run in general are awful. I mean, that first mile, sometimes you feel great. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you feel like I'm Superwoman and I could run for 20 miles. But a lot of times, those first 1 to 2 to 3 miles, you just don't feel good. I mean, you just woke up, or it's in the middle of the day, or it's hot and you're tired. You're just kind of, a lot is going on in your mind usually, and it's hard to just dive in and clear your head. And so I think that that is why a lot of people give up running, because those first few miles just are not enjoyable. So my biggest advice for that, I would not tell yourself something first. I would not tell yourself, I am going to love running. I'm going to train for a half marathon this year. And you may, but I'm just talking about this one person in particular. I would say 3 times a week for 10 minutes, I'm going to run. And I'm not gonna run in full speed, and I'm not gonna run the full 10 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna do 30-second walk, 30-second run for 10 minutes, 3 times a week, no matter what. And that first week, you might hate it, or you might think, oh, okay, that's not so bad. And then the second week, you're gonna do that for 11 minutes. And I don't care if you say you don't have time. You have 11 minutes, 3 times a week. And then the week after, you're gonna do it for 12 minutes. And let's say that's your max. Let's say, okay, you've done it for 12 minutes and that was awful and I don't wanna do that again. No problem. That week after, what I want you to do is I want you to do 12 minutes again, but a 40-second run and a 20-second walk. And I think that you need to feel like it is working into your life and you're not working your life around running. It needs to be something that maybe you do as a cool down after a workout or as a warm up. And I think eventually, once your body is like, okay, we're doing this running thing slowly but surely, and you're not just going full force and sprinting for 10 minutes, you're gonna slowly start making that work for you. So that would be my best advice. If you hate it, I understand, I have been there, but I would start to change your attitude about it. I am just gonna do this as a warm up or a cool down. It is going to work into my life. I'm going to set up an awesome playlist or a podcast I've been dying to listen to. There's a few podcasts I listen to about Real Housewives that I specifically save for when I run because it will keep me laughing the whole time. So that is my best advice. I would make it work for you. I would make it as enjoyable as possible. I would tell yourself, after I do this, I'm gonna go buy myself a latte or a coffee and I'm gonna watch my favorite show. Something like that. Again, I would just make it as enjoyable for you as you can. I had another question about swelling hands, and actually I've heard that happen, and it has happened to me as well. If you have swelling hands, I am not a doctor, but in my personal opinion, I am underhydrated and I have not had enough electrolytes. So what I would do is, I love Nuun because unlike Gatorade, it has very little calories. It doesn't have a whole lot of added, red 40, yellow 5, all that crap you don't need. I would have a half a glass before your run, of course, also with water, and be super hydrated. And I would have a half a glass of it after. Also, when I run in the summer, if you ever feel gritty up here or on your nose, that's actually salt. And so if you're losing a lot of salt, you might want to look into salt tabs, and that's actually going to help. So if you feel like when you're running, you can't move your rings, or you're just super puffy like this, if you aren't actually using the restroom a lot, if you're not peeing a lot like the day before, the day after, that's also another sign that maybe your electrolytes are a little off. So I would make sure you're having bananas. Potatoes actually have a lot of potassium. There are some super hardcore runners that run with steamed potatoes in a baggie. So if you're seeing any of those signs of swelling, of salt, of just feeling really fatigued when you've only run a mile or two, I would definitely hydrate more. I would take a look at what it is you're eating. When you meal prep, I would sprinkle a little bit of that pink Himalayan sea salt on it. Yes, of course, you don't want a ton of salt and sodium in your diet, but if you are an athlete, if you're training for something, you actually do need to be replacing that sodium from all that sweat that you are doing. Again, not a doctor, but that's just my personal opinion. Ooh, another question is so fun. So best clothes to wear when you're running. I personally love Zella leggings from Nordstrom. They are a Lululemon hack because they are pretty much identical to the high-waisted running leggings there, but they are half the price. They're literally $54. So I love the Zella leggings. I would love to say I love Old Navy or Target leggings. My problem with them is they tend to fall, or they tend to really stretch out. And I normally get a medium, and I have found that after 1 or 2 wears, I'm like running and yanking up my pants. It really drives me nuts. And no one wants to get a small and then get a muffin top. Like, nobody needs that. So I love that the Zella leggings are true to size. They stay where they're supposed to be staying, and I never really chafe in them either. So they're great. And then for long sleeve shirts, I love the Lululemon long sleeve shirts to run in. Again, I usually run in a lot of long sleeve or in tech shirts from old races because I hate that armband rub. I don't know what else to do with my phone besides put it in an armband. I guess I could put it in a little fanny pack thing, but then those tend to flop around too. So I love running in long sleeve or in tech shirts. Sometimes I do tank tops, but I will tell you again, make sure that you're putting on that body glide because you will chafe, especially in the summer. So my last question is for my ladies. I was asked when to run or what to do about running on your menstrual cycle. So guys, dudes, if I have any male subscribers, either enjoy this next question or you can feel free to speed forward through this one. So there's a lot of research coming out about when women, or what women should be doing during what phase of their menstrual cycle, in terms of if you just ended, if you're ovulating, if you're in that luteal phase, which is about your 3rd week into your period. I want you to do whatever you feel good about doing. So if you don't like running on your period, totally understandable, then just maybe walk. I've personally never really had an issue running on my period. I just make sure that I'm very well taken care of in that situation. Make sure you carry an extra tampon. You will be a little slower, a little sluggish leading up to your period and during. Sometimes I actually feel better on my period versus that week before when you just feel like bloated and gross. Make sure you're hydrating a lot. Make sure you eat a lot after. Take really good care of your body. You are actually more susceptible to pulling muscles in that phase because of the hormones. So be really gentle with your stretching. Make sure that you're being really good to yourself. And in terms of what I just referenced before, all this research is coming out that is totally fascinating because women are just as complex as the moon, as the stars, as the ocean. I love it. Your best day to get your best, hardest workout is actually on ovulation day. So if you happen to have your 20-mile run on ovulation day, that actually might help work in your benefit, as well as maybe deadlifting and getting a PR for that in your squats. You're strongest on that day. But in terms of everything else, it is personal. You have to kind of go with how you feel. I definitely would just make sure you're hydrated, make sure that you get some good nutrition in after that, get some protein, and just be really gentle to yourself. So those are all my questions that I had submitted on Instagram. I really appreciate it. That was so many. I was so excited to get them, and it was just in like an hour period. So Thank you again so much for watching. I hope I answered all of your questions as well as I could. I will link any information down below. You can also check out my blog. I have some running tips on there as well. Please don't forget to subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know if you have any other questions that I can address in my next video. And again, thank you so much for watching. You can also find me on Instagram at RunFitMama. So have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye.